Welcome to the heart of San Antonio, focusing on community. Brought to you by Owl Radio and the Low Vision Resource Center of San Antonio. Owl Radio provides reading services for the blind, those with low vision, and the print impaired through daily radio broadcasts, providing access to the written word 24/7, 365 days a year. In this space, we'll have meaningful conversations with individuals who inspire and organizations making a positive difference in our city, highlighting all they have to offer and how you can access their services. We'll also bring you info about unique and entertaining activities across our city. I am your host, Jenny Badger. Let's get started. In today's episode, I have the privilege of introducing you to Christian Chavez. Christian was born without a left eye and has 20/200 vision in his right, but that does not define him. As a child, he learned to play the piano and violin and played various sports like golf, track, basketball, and swimming. He graduated from McMurray University in Abilene with a degree in exercise science and has a master's in health and kinesiology from the University of Texas at San Antonio. At 31, Christian is a personal trainer and an endurance athlete. And that's what we're talking about today. Christian, thank you so much for being here. And I want to ask you to be my guide and the guide of all the people listening and teaching us everything that you would like sighted people to know. When I ask you a question, feel free to elaborate and explain things as you see fit.
Awesome. Well, thank you for having me. And yes, I will be your guide. And that's the first time where I'm actually the guide and someone's not guiding me.
I want to talk a little bit, go back to your childhood a little bit. You've always been active, that you know how to play the piano and violin. Do you still play those instruments?
No, I do not. But if I ever did, it's muscle memory. Those instruments really helped me throughout my life, just with memorizing, certain stuff, because, as a blind person, basically you have to memorize a lot of stuff just because of reading, or have it a voiceover to read it to you, and it's also helped me in sports too, violin and piano, with just certain activities in sports.
Well, can you explain to me how in the world you learned how to play piano and violin?
Everything was by memory. So in piano and violin, so what we would do, we would go over one line of music, and the person that was teaching me would just tell me, you're going to put your hands here and you're going to move your hands here. So basically we would do 3 or 4 notes at a time, and we just repetition after repetition, and until I got it down, that's when we moved on to the next line of music. And some of these songs that I played, violin or piano, there were 5 to 10 pages of music, and it's just helped me a lot to sharpen the brain, pay attention to detail, and just have that focus.
Right. And so you had mentioned earlier that it helped you with running your triathlons and all of the physical activities that you've been involved in. How has it helped you with those?
Well, in high school and college, I was a swimmer, and so when I first started swimming, my coach would have this pole attached to a tennis ball, and it would tap me to indicate when I was supposed to flip, turn, and when the wall was coming up. But I made it one of my goals where I didn't want to use that anymore, and just to go back to the piano and violin, I used muscle memory to help me memorize the music. And so, why can I use muscle memory for my strokes? And so I knew, let me just count my strokes at every wall or every lap, and that would help me know when to flip turn. And it took me about 3 years to get it down to a T.
Yeah.
And during my senior year and throughout college, I did not use those tappers anymore.
Wow. And did you specialize in a specific stroke?
I was in high school. I was a 50 free and 100 butterflyer. And in college, I was 100 fly, 200 fly, and 200 IM and 400 IM.
Okay. For those who don't know, can you tell everyone what's involved in an IM?
So the IM is abbreviated for individually medley. And so you swim all 4 strokes. So the 200 IM, you swim 50 of each stroke. And the 400 IM, you swim 100 yards of each stroke. So it's butterfly, backstroke, breaststroke, and freestyle in that order. And the 400 IM is what we call the decathlon in swimming. It is hard. It is painful. And I started swimming it my last 2 years in college, and it's painful.
So what has kept you going through, and also just to remind everyone that like you have run 7 marathons, 2 ultra marathons, 1 ruck march, and 2 triathlons. So what in the world keeps you going?
I think the goals I set keep me going. And I'm the type of person where I want to get better. I want to try new events, rather that be a marathon or an ultra marathon or a triathlon. I want to get better, and I'm one of those people after a race. I mean, I'm happy. Don't get me wrong, I'm really happy, but I'm not satisfied because I know I can do better the next time, and that just keeps me going. Is the goals that I write down and working towards those goals to make them, a reality. Yeah.
At Owl Radio, we provide access to the written word for people with low or no vision by providing readers who read live on air, the San Antonio Express News and other publications. I'm wondering how you accessed the written word as you were growing up and getting your education.
So what I would do probably from elementary school, it was more teacher assistant would, read the instructions to me, or they would have like these big blow up pieces of papers with big lettering so I could read. When I got into middle school and high school, we would use this machine called the CCTV, which is a big TV screen with a sliding platform, and it would magnify papers for me to read. And so like the teacher would basically give me like the PowerPoint in paper form, and I would just follow along. And then in college, same thing. I had a CCTV in my dorm, and I would also have a portable TV in my laptop, which had a Zoom Tech on it, which could help me follow the PowerPoints or whatever assignments the professors would send to us.
Okay. Are you a reader now? Do you enjoy reading?
Oh man, I don't want to lie. I really don't. I'm so busy with training and work. Shoot.
No, I didn't mean to. I wasn't trying to trap you there. I think that's actually pretty common for people your age these days. But anyway, I do know that you enjoy listening to music.
Yes.
So tell us what your favorite kinds of music are.
Oh man. Well, fun fact, I do not listen to music when I'm running, swimming, or biking, because in the triathlon world, having headphones or phones is illegal. So I prepare like I'm preparing for a race when I'm training, so no music at all.
Wow.
When I weight train, though, I do listen to music. People are going to probably think I'm a little weird, but I like to listen to country.
That's not weird.
Or old school rap, like 90s, early 2000s rap.
Okay, I want to know your favorite songs in each of those genres.
Oh, man. My favorite song of all time is Biggie Smalls' Juicy. And I love that song because it's just, to me, it's just about, never giving up on a dream, working towards that, and just blocking out the noise and just going for it. And there's a special meaning to that song. When I did my second ultra marathon, which was a 55-mile race in Colorado Springs, I had 8 guides for that race because each aid station, 2 guides would substitute to the next aid station to help me. So I had fresh guide legs to get me to keep me moving. And one of the guides asked me what was one of my favorite songs, and I said Biggie Smalls' "Juicy." I just love that song about chasing your dreams and just going after it. And when we got down to the last mile, I'll never forget this. All of my guides were at this gate, which was like the 1 mile mark before the finish line, and one of the guides brought a speaker, and we played "Juicy" for that last 1 mile. And I kid you not, I was like, like I had like a third win, because 55-mile race, you're gonna have multiple wins,
right,
out to multiple highs and lows. And I actually ran one of my fastest miles in that race.
My gosh, I believe it. That's so awesome to have that kind of support.
Yeah. Country, I would say, I don't know if I have a favorite song, but I love Morgan Wallen, Luke Bryan, Thomas Rhett, Carrie Underwood. Just a wide variety of artists.
Yeah. When you talk about things like running 55 miles, what's going through your mind when you're spending that much time trying to achieve the finish line?
Love the journey. I preach it, whenever I announce a race, or when I do like the post-race pictures. I always, make it a point, embrace the journey, love the journey, because that's the best part of it. It can show a lot of character. It shows what kind of person you are, because during that journey, there's going to be highs, there's going to be lows, there's going to be ups and downs. You're going to face adversity. You're going to go through a lot, but when you start that journey and when you end that journey, it is bittersweet. Some races are good, some races are great, some races I'm like, disappointing. But that's all part of the journey, because you can learn from it, make the right corrections, and for the next time you can do better.
And I want to ask you, like, what's the worst obstacle that you've faced in these races and competitions?
Ooh, my worst race, and I still haven't let it go. It was my third marathon. It was an Indianapolis marathon. I had a guide, and when we connected online, he said, he gave me his pace, and I thought, okay, all right, this is good. He's faster than me, which is good, and he'll get me to the goal I wanted to get at the time. And everything was going really smooth. The first 19 miles, I was holding goal pace. I was feeling great. And then out of nowhere, this guide had a cramp in his legs. And, you can't control that. And he had to stop.
Yeah.
And I still had 7 miles left to go. And I had no one near me, because this is like a small marathon and we're like in neighborhoods. And so basically I had to stop, wait for people to pass me and follow them. But, when you're deep into a marathon and you're like on such a high and you have to stop that momentum, it is so hard to get that momentum back.
Yeah. So
I had to like stop 2 or 3 times, and then I tripped over like a mini pothole, scraped my knee. And, I finished the race, but I added 3 minutes to my personal record at the time, and it cost me like a 7-minute PR.
Oh, good grief.
I still haven't let that go.
Yeah. And
that was in 2023.
So how do you vet guides? Like, where do you find them, and how do you determine if they're good for you?
So there's multiple resources. So depending on the city, there's organizations like Achilles International that helps people with disabilities do like running races or triathlons. And so they have a good community of, people that want to help people with disabilities. Emailing race directors to say, do you have any organizations in the city that could, help me guide? And I do this about 2 or 3 months out just to, play it safe.
Yeah.
There's also this website called United in Stride, which you can put your area code and like a radius of of 0 miles to 100 miles, and it has like people that are signed up as guides that you can like message and help you guide. So that's a great resource, and just, just knowing people. Yeah.
So can you walk me through what a guide does for each of the sports that you compete in?
Yeah. In running, so in the marathon world, depending on the race, you can have one or two guides, and you can either be tethered at the waist, or you can have a hand tether, and basically they're just by your side. And for me, I like a guide to be very verbal, so I like to know when it's flat, when there's uphills, when there's downhills, when we're about to turn, if we're changing on any surfaces, so I'm prepared for those changes throughout the race. In the triathlon world, you have one guide, but they have to do all three disciplines with you.
Oh, wow.
And so in swimming, you're tethered by a bungee cord. It has to be 1 meter long. And that type of communication is all touch communication. And so if we have to take a right turn, you can either tap me on the shoulder once. If we're taking a left turn, the guide will tap me twice on the shoulder. And if we're going to stop, you can either squeeze the neck or pull the buoy or pull the bungee cord to tell me we're stopped. Basically, we're done with the swim portion of the race. On the bike, it is a tandem bike.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So the guide is in the front. So they're doing all the steering, the gearing, and braking, where I'm in the back where my handlebars are stationary. We pedal at the same time. And for me, I like my guide to be very verbal too. So I want to know when we're going downhill, when we're going uphill, when it's flat. I want to know when we're turning. And, I also want to know when we're about to brake too. In running, it's the same thing. You can use that hand tether or the waist tether.
Okay. That's so interesting. I didn't know any of that.
Yeah. So basically you want the guide to literally be faster than you or the same speed with you. And it's easier to find guides in the running world than the triathlon world, just because in the triathlon world, the para triathlon, it's just so new, and there's just limited guides in that world. And so basically, if you know an experienced guide, great. Do you hope they're faster than you? But if you don't, you have to just, find triathlon clubs or triathlon coaches and hey, is anyone willing to guide? And usually the VI or blind athlete will teach them how to guide from just, experience. Yeah.
What is next for you on that journey? What's your next race or the next thing?
So I was training for U.S. Para Triathlon Nationals, and sadly I didn't compete because of severe flooding in Milwaukee. So we are trying to find a race in the Austin, San Antonio area, and I am reaching out to triathlon coaches and triathlon clubs, and I have a couple people that are interested in guiding. So the goal is to train them to be confident in open water on a tandem bike and running with a blind athlete. And so the goal is to get a race by October, but if not, we're just going to go into off season. And for 2026, right now on the calendar, we got U.S. Para Triathlon Nationals in August. Depending if I get in, the Tokyo Marathon in early March.
And so what will it take to get in? What did you have to do to?
So the Tokyo Marathon is part of the Abbott World Major Marathons series. And so in the marathon world, there are 7 marathons where they're really hard to get in, and they're like the prestige marathons in the world. And so there's New York, Boston, Chicago, London, Berlin, Tokyo, and Sydney. And as of right now, there's 7, but in a couple years, they're going to add Shanghai, China, and Cape Town, South Africa. So in the marathon world, if you can do all 7 right now, possibly 9, you get these stars. And once you complete all the marathons, you get this big medal with 7 stars for now, possibly 9 in the future. But it's this big 7-star medal. And so right now I have 2 of the 7 stars. I have Chicago and Boston, and one of my goals is to finish all 7 marathons right now. And Tokyo would be number 3, and then in 2027 it'll be Sydney.
So you get to travel the world.
Yeah. Every race I try to like, if it's domestic, I like to be there 2 or 3 days just to, get used to the climate,
Right.
Be fresh where I don't want to fly before the race, the day before the race.
Right.
But if it's like international, a week before.
You said you've done Boston
And
Chicago.
Yep.
Which one of those did you prefer? Which city? Let's talk about just touring the city. Which city did you prefer?
Boston was my number 1 city in America that I wanted to see. And it did not disappoint.
Yeah. It's a cool city.
Yeah. Boston was amazing. We did the Patriot, the Freedom Trail. We went to a Red Sox game, which is unreal. We went to the USS Constitution ship.
Yeah.
We walked around downtown, and just the food was amazing. Can't go wrong with seafood and Italian food in Boston. And the Boston Marathon is just it is the oldest marathon in the world and one of the hardest. So just getting in that marathon is an accomplishment in itself. I
didn't know it was the oldest.
Yeah. That race was not a great race time-wise, but, I can't go, even though I didn't get the goal time I wanted, I couldn't be disappointed of like the course, the atmosphere, and just the history that marathon has. Yeah.
Can you tell us what you do in the real world?
The real world, I'm a personal trainer. So, I help people get in shape, eat right, and motivate them to, set big goals and make those goals become a reality too. So
what's the most difficult part of that for you?
I think the most difficult part is when a client wants results really, really quick, and it just doesn't work like that. It takes months, it takes years to, accomplish, a high, hard goal. And, people today just want results just like quick, but it takes a lot. For me, I didn't really get good at marathon running 2 years into training.
Yeah.
Or even triathlons too. Even though I'm a pretty decent swimmer, learning how to ride a tandem bike, learning how to, run at 5K pace compared to marathon pace. It's a whole different type of speed. Trusting someone to guide me in open water on a tandem bike and running at a faster pace compared to marathon pace. It takes time, and I'm still learning.
Yeah.
And I know I have to be patient, and I can't, rush the process.
Yeah. So what would you tell people listening how to start training? Like, maybe they don't even want to be in a marathon. They just want to get in better shape.
So this is how I start like a prep or a new journey. First off, I make sure what is the long-term goal. I'll give you an example for like the para-triathlon nationals. So my long-term goal was to be on the podium, first, second, or third. And my coach thought I could do it. I thought I could do it. I put that on my goal sheet. So like usually I put the long-term goal on my phone. So like the first thing I do when I wake up, I see it. And so after I have the long-term goal, I have short-term goals where usually they're like monthly goals, like to see if I'm making progress towards that long-term goal. And so when I started the prep for U.S. Nationals, some of those short-term goals were to, build my aerobic base for cycling. Another short-term goal was building 5K speed. For the last two years, I was doing marathon speed. and 5K speed is, faster. And then for swimming is just one of the short-term goals was to get more comfortable in open water. For my swim career, it was all in the pool. Open water is just a whole different, animal, because there's no lane lines. Depending where you swim, it could be an ocean, lake, or a river. You can, face waves, you can face currents, and the amount of people. So you're going to get splashing, you're going to get kicked, you're going to get, moved around. So, you just got to work on those, things to get better at it.
So is that how you motivate your clients? Like you find out what their primary goal is and then you set the short goals to achieve that?
I'll give you an example. I've had this client for over a year. So when he first came in, he was 281 pounds. So he was about 6 feet tall. And I think the average weight for a 6-foot male, you want to be around 180 to 200. Don't quote me on that. And so he wanted to get down to under 200. That was the long-term goal. And so what I told him, okay, well, our monthly short-term goals, one of them was to lose 6 to 8 pounds per month. And that's like healthy weight loss.
Right.
You want to do per month. And the first couple months were kind of hard because he never worked out before. His form wasn't that good, so we had to start at the basics of weightlifting. And he had no conditioning or cardio at all. Very weak. So we had one of the short-term goals was to build up his cardio. And he didn't know anything about nutrition, so another short-term goal was to, hit your calories, hit your macros, protein, carbs, and fat, and just to get him moving because he was really sedentary.
Yeah.
And over time, he started losing weight. Last May, he was 281, so in 2024. As of right now, in 2025, he went from 281 to 191. So he's lost 90 pounds. And
I'm guessing everything improved, like his aerobic, everything.
Everything improved. His strength, his cardio. He's on his nutrition every day, and that just shows having that long-term goal, having short-term goals to keep you going, and being consistent you can show improvement and see results.
Yeah. Can you share where you work?
I work at Fit Therapy of Texas. It's on Stone Oak Parkway.
Okay. How long have you been there?
About 5.5 years.
What's next for you?
Well, the goals I have in the athletic realm, I do want to complete all 7 world majors. So hopefully, fingers crossed, I get into Tokyo. I want to wear, the USA on my chest in the triathlon world. Yeah. And I truly believe I can do that. And just the improvements I'm making right now, I have no doubts that I can do that next year or in 2027. I want to do another ultra marathon. I want to climb a 14,000 foot mountain.
Oh my God.
I want to do that. I think that would be awesome. There's this race in Colorado Springs, the Pikes Peak Marathon, and it's basically 13 miles up, and then you go 13 miles back down. I've heard, I think no male visually impaired or blind athlete has climbed or raced that race yet. They told me one female has done it, and so I definitely want to do that race.
Yeah.
Those are the main athletic goals I have in the future.
Yeah.
In the triathlon world, I also want to do a full Ironman one day, which is a 2.4 mile swim, 112 mile bike ride, and a full marathon. And I think that would just be cool to do. But
that's one adjective for it.
Yeah. I'm just that type of person that just wants to do hard things and show people, look what I can do.
Right.
I'm not the biggest, I'm not the strongest, I'm not the fastest, but what separates me from everyone is the work ethic and the discipline and my drive to get better. I train 7 days a week, and they're not all like hard, intense workouts. Some workouts are recovery workouts.
Yeah.
But, to me, my whole life I was always behind. Like, I started swimming at age 14, where most people start at 8, 9, or 10. So I was already behind. I probably can count on one hand. I probably missed like one practice. In my triathlon journey, I trained 7 days a week, and, on top of work, and then, and trying to find guides, talking to my coach, and, I don't make, mega money, but, this is what I invest in, like, races, the travel to the races, it's all funded by me. And when, when you're passionate about something, you truly love something, and you want to chase a dream, you do whatever it takes. So I'm doing whatever it takes to accomplish these big goals that I have.
Is there something outside of yourself that inspires you? Like, like the song, you shared the song with us, or a motto or a person?
So I'll share this story of one of my races that was really cool. It's sad, but there's a beautiful meaning towards it. Okay. So when I was training for my second marathon, put in some context, I did this, my first marathon ever was the San Antonio Marathon. But like 2 days before the race, I got the flu. I still ran it because I paid for it and I didn't want to waste the money.
Yeah. And
my goal was to go 3 hours and 30 minutes. And obviously I didn't because I was, still sick.
Yeah,
really badly. So I think I went a 3:56, and I knew when I crossed the finish line, I got to do another one to redeem myself. And so signed up for the Nashville Marathon, which was in April of 2023. And so I started the prep in early January, and from January to early March, everything was going great. But sadly, my brother passed away in like the first week of March, and that was really devastating for our family. A lot of lows during that month of March, from when we found out to the funeral in late March. And during that time, exercise or the training sessions that I had, was kind of like the therapy, where I got to reflect on life, the time I had with my brother, and just that alone time to escape from, the real world and all the, problems of life.
Right.
And we'll skip to the race. We did the funeral in late March, and probably like 3 weeks later was the race. And so I remember during the national anthem, I just felt this chill, and this chill got a little emotional, which I really don't get before races. I just felt this chill on my shoulder, and I thought, okay, maybe this is a sign that everything's going to be all right. And because it's hard to even though like the training was kind of therapeutic, it was still hard to train.
Yeah.
Losing a close family member, like a brother. And so I do the race. I do great. I finished like 100th and 11th out of like 2,400 marathon runners.
Good grief.
And my sister pointed this out. So I finished 111th, and my brother's tombstone number was 111.
Oh, wow. Wow.
When my sister texted that in the group chat, I thought, wow, he was literally watching over me during that race at like that difficult time from early March to that race. I'm
so sorry for the loss of your brother.
Oh, thank you.
But that is such a touching and inspirational story. Thank you for sharing that.
And it just shows, Even though we went through that traumatic, time, I was still training and, working. Some people probably think it's selfish that I was still training. Like, why would you? But, it was like my therapy, and, my mom and dad, raised us to finish what we started and work hard. And so, when I set my mind to something, it's pretty hard for me not to stop.
Yeah. Well, that's all of what you have told us today is so inspirational. And is there any way that people can follow you? Like, are there any social media things that you want to share?
Instagram is Christian_Chavez21, and Facebook, Christian Chavez. I'm pretty sure my picture is me at the USA Performance Center in Charlotte. But that's where that's where you basically find me. And I post nothing but races and what I'm doing next.
Do you have a fundraising site? Is that allowed? Is that something
it is allowed? So in the para-triathlon, we do have grants that help us with travel, coaches' fees. But if there's any sponsors that want to sponsor me, you won't be disappointed.
And then one last question. Is there something that sighted people do that particularly drives you crazy and that you wish they wouldn't do?
So the serious one is when they complain about driving, and I'm like, so you're complaining that you get the opportunity. It's an opportunity, not a right. You get the opportunity to drive from A to B whenever you want, where I have to rely on someone picking me up, or if they cancel, or if I'm waiting, or if I have to pay for it. Don't complain about driving. A funny one is, and I know they're asking a question, but in my mind I like to laugh about it.
Yeah.
I have no left eye, so I'm completely blind in that one, and my vision in my right eye is about 20/200. Perfect vision's 20/20. So I can see big items when I'm inside. Outside, I'm pretty useless. I think it's funny when people ask me, "Can you see the movie screen at the movie theater?" And I know they're just asking a question,
right?
And I'm an open book, and I just laugh at in the inside. But I say, yeah, I can see it. I just gotta sit where it's doable for me, and the screen is 100 feet long too.
Is there anything that we haven't covered that you want to share?
I think it doesn't matter if you're able or disabled. If you truly, truly have a passion for it and you want to chase that dream, even though it's hard and scary, just do it. Don't doubt yourself. Self-doubt only exists if you doubt yourself. And I've never doubted myself. I've always believed I can do it. I will do it. I know I can do it. Instead of saying I can't, I won't, or I think. You want to be positive. Positive mindset can go a long way, and it will be hard. There will be ups and downs, and that's the beauty of it. You shouldn't quit something if it gets hard. You should keep moving forward. Motivation only can take you so far. It's the discipline that's going to get you to that finish line or whatever you want to pursue. Just stay positive, and discipline will get you to the finish line.
Thank you so much for sharing your story with us today. It's been such a pleasure to meet you, and so inspirational to sit here and talk to you.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
If you were inspired or moved by today's podcast and my conversation with Christian Chavez, you may want to consider donating to his GoFundMe page, which you can find under the heading Blind Athlete Chasing Dreams. If you want to share your thoughts about today's podcast or any of our podcasts, as well as your ideas for future guests, or if you're interested in volunteering with Owl Radio and the Low Vision Resource Center, please call us at 210-829-4223. That's 210-829-4223. We look forward to hearing from you. This podcast was made possible by the Low Vision Resource Center of San Antonio and OWL Radio. All the programs OWL Radio offers are accessible in the following ways: the OWL Radio Reading app on Apple or Android phone, or with the TuneIn app, or with Alexa. Just say, "Alexa, enable OWL Radio." Or you can live stream it from the website. Go to owlradio.org. That's owlradio.org, which is the same website you can find out more about the Low Vision Resource Center of San Antonio and OWL Radio. Thanks for listening. Catch you next time on The Heart of San Antonio, focusing on community.